Welcome to Lesson 4, Rhyming and Alliteration. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to distinguish between phonological sensitivity and phonemic awareness, describe the relationship between early phonological awareness skills and early reading and spelling skills, recognize that a child's level of participation in wordplay activities can be one informal measure of phonemic awareness, recognize the role of modeling and guided practice in developing phonological awareness skills. Describe two differences between judging rhyme and producing rhyme. List 3 ways to scaffold as children are learning to rhyme. Recognize that there are a variety of types of activities appropriate for teaching rhyming and alliteration. And identify 2 resources containing visuals for teaching early phonological awareness skills. In 2017, Donna Scanlon and her colleagues published their second edition of the book, Early Intervention for Reading Difficulties, the Interactive Strategies Approach. They wrote, "Too often, the children who are at greatest risk for reading difficulties do not participate fully in language activities. An observer will often notice that when such children do engage, they do so by shadowing or copying the responses of the children who are not at risk. Children who become phonemically aware without explicit guidance tend to spontaneously engage in the kinds of language play encouraged in the activities in this book. The goal of the modeling and guided practice described is to encourage children who do not do these kinds of things spontaneously to engage in productive language play." It is estimated that 60 to 70% of children develop phonemic awareness skills on their own. Our job then in education is to recognize the other 30 to 40% and to provide the scaffolding or support they need for their phonemic awareness skills to develop as well. Let's start with the early developing skills of rhyming and alliteration. In Lesson 2, it was acknowledged that the early phonological awareness skills are only moderately correlated with early reading and spelling. Let's take a moment to fine-tune our vocabulary. In her most recent book, Speech to Print, Louisa Moats presented the term phonological sensitivity. She wrote, "Phonological sensitivity is now the preferred term for awareness of linguistic units larger than phonemes, including words and phrases, syllables, onsets, and rhymes. This term can be used to describe early developing precursors of phoneme awareness and the goals of instruction at that level. Rhyming activities, for example, may stimulate phonological sensitivity, but are not sufficient for teaching phoneme awareness." Let's take a closer look at rhyming. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines rhyme as a close similarity in the final sounds of 2 or more words or lines of writing. There are 2 primary skills in rhyming: rhyme judgment and rhyme production. Louisa Moats adds in rhyme matching as a scaffold for rhyme judgment. Here is a script you can use when you are teaching children rhyme judgment. Say, words rhyme if the last part of each word sounds the same. Cake and bake rhyme. So do Mary and cherry. Listen while I say the poem and get ready to say the rhyming words. Jack and Jill went up the hill. What words rhyme? As students develop this skill, you can discontinue the preamble and simply ask for the judgment. It would sound like this. Do these words rhyme? Fan, can. In rhyme matching, there are options to choose from. Say, listen carefully. Rhyming Robot wants to find a match for each of his favorite words. If one of his favorite words is shake, then which of these words can he have? Meat, steak, or corn? Notice that children with poor auditory memory or attention issues may have difficulty holding the first word and the three options in their short-term memory. Be sure to provide picture cards. Here's a script for teaching rhyme production. Let's play a game. I'll say 3 words that rhyme, and they sound alike at the end. You say one more word that rhymes. It can be a silly word. Let's start. Hinky, pinky, slinky. As the child's skill develops, the instruction can be reduced until it sounds like this. Say a word that sounds like or rhymes with star. In her dissertation in 2004, Lucy Hart Paulson studied the phonological awareness skills of 80 4- and 5-year-old preschool children. She ranked the skills from easiest to hardest based on the age that the skills developed. Her results suggest that rhyme detection or judgment develops before rhyme production. A few generations ago, children were commonly entertained by jump rope, hand-clapping games, and listening to nursery rhymes and poems. Today, children entering preschool and kindergarten may or may not have experienced that same level of language play. Does it matter when it comes to learning to read? Gillen wrote, "A general pattern regarding the relationship between rhyme and the written language development in English may be drawn from the literature. Knowledge of nursery rhymes positively influences rhyme awareness. In turn, rhyme awareness in 4-year-old children has some influence on early reading and spelling development, possibly via its contribution to stimulating phoneme awareness. In young school-age children, phonological awareness skills at the phoneme level are much stronger current and long-term predictors of their reading and spelling performance than measures of rhyme awareness." So is it still recommended to teach rhyming to our students? Absolutely. Developing phonological sensitivity is a valid goal for pre-readers and struggling readers as they learn to pay attention to the small parts of words. Stories, poems, and songs that contain rhyme can also be used to support vocabulary development. In his classic poem, Alligator Pie, Canadian author Dennis Lee opens the door to comparing stew and pie, demonstrating what it means to droop, and inferring the type of hoop that is described. And of course, we can't overlook the fun factor that rhyme brings to all tiers of teaching. Here are a number of tips for teaching rhyming. Check to see that the child knows the meaning of the word end, and use a visual if necessary. Start instruction with rhyme word pairs that contain final sounds that are visible, like soap, rope, and cape, tape, and non-rhyme pairs that have final sounds that are maximally different, like truck, lamb, and not fan, drum. Ask the question, do these words sound the same at the end? And then emphasize the rhyme portion of the words, like top and hop. Ask the question, is my mouth doing the same thing at the end of the words? Again, say the 2 words with an emphasis on the rhyme. And ask the question, what does your mouth do at the end of the words? Provide the student with a mirror so she can observe her articulators. Present pairs of words that are unrelated in context. For example, use truck, lamb, and not dog, lamb. Otherwise, children may focus on the similarity of meaning instead of looking for similarity of sound. After reading a book 1 or 2 times, read the book again and pause to let the students fill in the rhyming word. And don't get stuck on rhyming. Children can work on other phonological awareness skills without mastering rhyme. To support learners who need visuals, for small group work during Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention, and for use at centers, there are lots of activities that contain picture cards. Here is a rhyming activity where each card in Set 1 rhymes with a card from Set 2. Just a reminder, if you do not want letters included in your phonological awareness activities, you will need to remove or cover up the words on the picture cards. You'll find that you need to do that with a lot of ready-made activities. This activity is called Rhyme House. It was developed by the Florida Center for Reading Research. There are 6 houses and 6 sets of rhyming words. The card at the top of each house determines the rhyme. In this example, the van picture card belongs to a different house. Alliteration is the repetition of usually initial consonant sounds in 2 or more neighboring words or syllables. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Here is an activity where the picture cards are to be sorted based on their first sound. This activity is a memory game. One child picks up 2 cards, and if the 2 words start with the same sound, the child keeps the pair. If the 2 words start with 2 different sounds, the cards are set down and the next child takes a turn. The importance of using real objects or picture cards to support our students has been mentioned a number of times. Here are more resources that contain visuals to assist you in your teaching of alliteration and rhyme. There's an activity from Teachers Pay Teachers. There's Words Their Way for pre-K and kindergarten. And then there's the book Phonemic Awareness, Playing with Sounds. Let's recap Lesson 4. Phonological sensitivity is the awareness of linguistic units smaller than phonemes. Phonemic awareness is the awareness and ability to manipulate individual phonemes. The early phonological awareness skills are only moderately correlated to early reading and spelling. Children who do not spontaneously participate in wordplay activities likely have lower phonological awareness skills. Modeling and guided practice will be necessary for children who are not developing phonological awareness skills on schedule. Judging rhyme is the ability to recognize that 2 words rhyme. Generating rhyme is the act of producing a word that rhymes with a word that is provided. The skill of judging rhyme develops before the skill of generating rhyme. Scaffolds and other supports when teaching children to rhyme include asking the questions, do these words sound the same at the end? What is my mouth doing at the end of the word? And what is your mouth doing at the end of the word? Have the student use a mirror to observe what his mouth does at the end of rhyming words. Present pairs of rhyming words that have maximum contrast. And present pairs of rhyming words that are unrelated in context. Resources that contain visuals appropriate for teaching early phonological awareness skills include resources from the Florida Center for Reading Research, resources associated with the Texas Primary Reading Inventory, Words Their Way for kindergarten and pre-kindergarten, and the book Phonemic Awareness, Playing with Sounds.